Good morning, welcome to Hamilton Pointe Vineyard. I'm Randy Hamilton. It's early January 2013 and I'm going to show you how to properly head, prune, trim a Zinfandel plant today. This one's already started. I'm just going to finish it up and then we'll start with a new one here so I can show you. Right now I'm just taking off any excess growth on every bit of the plant here so we can get ourselves down to just the gnarly head looking plant that we should have for a Zinfandel plant. I'll get into more detail in a second, but I'll give you an idea how quickly this process goes. I decided to shoot this video because I've been looking on the internet trying to find somebody to show me how to do this, and I always bother my buddy locally here to have him explain to me how to do this every year because I forget because it takes so long between trimmings to do any work. But this is a good example. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places for new growth next year. That's exactly where I want to be. So we'll go to a new plant and I'll demonstrate the whole technique for you from over there. I have a process where I cut off all the trimmings here and throw them in a trash can, and this way we can recycle these puppies. First thing to do in the plant, it's crazy, is to cut off all the long growth so you don't poke your eye out. And then what I do is I cut this stuff off real quickly. I use these Felco clippers. They're pretty good clippers, nice and sharp. Anyway, just cut them off after about the 4th bud, 3rd bud, something like that, and that way I can go back to it and work on it later without poking my eye out, because these things get a little out of control. All these canes are dried up, done. You know, the plant's dormant right now. So again, cut off everything beyond 4 inches or so on each stem so you get all this stuff out of the way so it doesn't poke you in the eye. That's step 1. I cut them into about 5 or 6 inch pieces so that the recycling and composting process goes a little easier. Okay, now we got to cut down into stuff we can work with, and now you want to take each of these sections and you want to trim them up for this new year. We want to have a minimum number of these things available for us to have new growth on, because each one of these will have new growth, so we can get it down to just the ones we want for the new year. Now you can hear the llamas out there having a good fight with each other. You can kind of see I got this one trimmed down. Trim off last year's stuff right here growing on the sides. We got it 2 buds, 1 bud, 2 bud. There may be a bud out right here at the stump. If there is, then that's 1 and that's 2. You can see this one's got a little bud there, little bud there. So if you see that, now I've got 2 buds to work with. Okay? Just kind of work your way around the plant and getting rid of any excess growth you don't need. I go with the largest, typically the largest piece of the growth. 2 buds. Again, this arm right here coming out, 1 bud, 2 bud, cut it off. Cleaning up everything as we go. We don't want to have any extra stuff growing here. This one's a long one from last year, but it's definitely not needed. There we go. So get down a nice clean arm. Cut off any growth from last year if you want to clean it all up. Here's one. Bottom one we don't need. Have to decide which of these 2 we like. I like the one not going up. Growth going straight up isn't going to help me. Got 1, 2 buds right there, so I'm going to take the buds off. If you damage this bud in the cutting process, just leave an extra bud and go up 1 more on the stalk there on the cane. Here's a good example of one now. You got to decide what to do. This has got 2 good sized growths. One's with last year's growth on here, the year before's growth, and then the growth going out here, or a new one on the bottom side here. So you kind of look and see where you want it to go. I'm going to take the one right here, keep this guy, keep 2 growth right there. I'll go with that bud, trim off the branch. So that's kind of how you do this process. Just going through, trimming off what you don't need, keep 2 buds. Keeping this one right here, we'll keep the long one, trim off this part. There we go. Again, 2 buds on the new growth. This is all last year's growth. This guy right here, nice to have, but he's in the way. So now what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I usually try to keep it down to 7 or 8 arms per plant. As you can see, we got a bunch more to do. Hopefully I taught you something. Have a good day. Bye.